Hey good people, and welcome back to the channel. Over the course of this video, you will hear my unpopular opinion coming from the movie Good Will Hunting, starring Matt Damon and Robin Williams. Now in my opinion, the 90s had some of the most iconic movies in cinematic history, and Good Will Hunting was definitely one of them. The movie won a number of awards, and it really put Matt Damon and Ben Affleck on the map in Hollywood. But the older I got, the more I realized that by the end of the movie, Will should have just taken the job instead of chasing after Skylar. So as I get ready to dive in, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to sit back, buckle up, and prepare to agree or disagree with what I'm about to say. Now in the movie Good Will Hunting, Will is a young man with a troubled past who has a knack for getting into trouble as well as solving complex math equations. Will is discovered by Professor Lambo, and the professor offers Will an opportunity that would change his life forever. But in order for Will to get that opportunity, he has to attend court-ordered therapy, and this is where he meets Sean McGuire. Now Sean does a great job at uncovering the root of Will's past trauma, as well as helping Will find his own happiness. But by the end of the movie, Will is faced with two choices. The first choice is that Will could work at a job that could harness all of his gifts. And the second choice is that Will could chase after the girl that got away, which is Skylar. Now of course, Will chose to head to California and chase after Skylar, which I thought was the right choice when I first saw this movie. But when I became older, I realized that this decision made absolutely no sense. Now sure, I get it. Will had a very troubled childhood, he was abused, and he had extremely low self-esteem. He was a magnet for trouble, and he enjoyed underachieving. But meeting Skylar was life-changing for him. I get all that. But in my opinion, Skylar was one of many women in this wonderful place called Earth, and I'm sure that there are other women out there just like her, if not better. And while Will had absolutely no meaningful experience in being in a committed relationship or being intimate with a woman, he had plenty of experience working at a job, and he spent months fine-tuning his gifts with Professor Lambo. So let's take a moment and use logic and determine what might have happened once Will arrived in California. First, we need to acknowledge that in this movie, there's no indication that Will and Skylar reconciled prior to him taking the trip to California. And keep in mind that Will is driving across the country with very little money, and there's no smartphones or social media during this time. So there's really no sure way of him getting in touch with her to let her know that he's coming. But let's say that he makes it to California, and he eventually finds Skylar, and let's assume that Skylar forgives Will for essentially breaking up with her. Will and Skylar still know very little about one another, and who's to say that she won't accidentally trigger one of Will's emotional outbursts again? How will Skylar feel about Will not having the desire to find a job that will use his gifts? Does Will even have the emotional capacity to love Skylar the way that she needs to be loved at this point in their journey? These are all very valid points. But on the flip side, let's say that Will finds Skylar, and she either doesn't forgive him for how things ended, or she's already moved on and found another boyfriend. Well, Will will be stuck in an unfamiliar place with nowhere to live, no friends or family, and very little money. Furthermore, experiencing this kind of rejection may cause Will to revert back to his former self. So it really didn't make much sense for Will to chase after Skylar, at least not at this point. But if we were to speak about logic, then let's talk about the possible scenarios that would have happened if Will had chosen to work at the NSA. Let's say Will accepts the job. He starts working and he doesn't like the job. Well, he will be right there with over half of the workforce in America. Most folks don't like their jobs, but they continue working because it's a means of paying the bills. And for Will to get a high-paying job with no college degree, and he gets to do something that he likes and that comes natural to him, that's a slam dunk all day. And it's also a feeling that most people will never get to experience. But again, let's say that Will doesn't like the job. We have to remember that Will was able to work hours upon hours under Professor Lambo's guidance and with Sean in his corner. And they could continue to go on to mentor Will once he became acclimated in the professional workplace. The job could also assign a handler for Will and give him some leeway around the place as he adjusts to his new life. And as Will continues to go to therapy, and he finally gets to a place where he has overcome his traumas, then he could go after Skylar if she's still single, or he could find a woman just like her. It's a risk, but it's a risk that makes a lot more sense than just driving 3,000 plus miles west for love and hoping for the best. But that's my opinion, And I would like to hear from all of you on the topic. Should Will have taken the job, or should he have chased after Skylar? Feel free to leave your answers and any other comments below in the comment section, and I'll be sure to reply to everybody. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.